Hello everyone, so in this video I'm going to be talking about finding a product by using the product rule. So let's keep in mind that in order to use the product rule we need to have the same base. So we need to have the same base. If the terms that we have do not have the same base, then we wouldn't be able to apply the product rule. So let's start with this first example, which is 3 times 3 to the second power. Now from here I can tell that both terms have the same base, right? So let's remember that the 3's are the base. In this case 2 is the exponent for the second number, and then for the first number we actually have an invisible exponent of 1. So whenever we see a term that does not have an exponent, it actually has an invisible 1 up there. So by using the product rule, we know that we can go ahead and add the exponents. So this will become 3 to the 1 plus 2, right? So we keep that base that both have. So we keep the same base. The only difference is that we are adding the exponents. And this becomes 3 to the third power. Now we know that 3 to the third power will be 3 times 3 times 3, and that's going to give us 27. Now let's go ahead and try an example with variables. So let's say we have y to the 10th power times y to the 4th power. So again, we can tell that we have the same variable, the same base, right? The same variable, which is y. That means we can apply the product rule. So this will become y to the 10 plus 4. So every time we multiply numbers that have the same base, then we can go ahead and add the exponents. So this will become y to the 14. Now because y is a variable, we cannot simplify this as we did in the previous one, so the answer is y to the 14th power. Okay, let's say we have negative 6 m to the 5th times 9 m to the 11th. Now this one's a little bit different because we have coefficients and then we also have the variables, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and multiply them each separately. So we're going to group them, right, by the numbers and then by the variables. So we have negative 6 and 9. So the numbers can multiply the numbers. So we're going to have negative 6 times 9. And then we also have m to the 5th times m to the 11th. So this will multiply m to the 5th times m to the 11th. Now I'm using parentheses, but again, everything is being multiplied. Pretty much because this is a multiplication, we can go ahead and move things around and then group the numbers with the numbers and then the variables with the same base, right, with the other terms with the same base. So in this case, if we multiply negative 6 times 9, this is going to give us negative 54. And then if we multiply m to the 5th times m to the 11th, this is going to give us m to the 5th plus 11, right? And again, we can say that these are being multiplied. So our answer is going to be negative 54 m to the 16. Okay. So again, we want to group together the numbers and we multiply the coefficients by the coefficients and then the terms that have the same base, or the part of the terms that have the same base. So in this case, it's a variable m, right, base m, and we apply the product rule to those. Let's go ahead and try another example. So this one's going to be h to the 4th times h to the 6th times another h to the 4th. Now in this case, we can see that all of them have the same base. So all of them have an h. So we can go ahead and directly apply the product rule to those. So this is going to give us h to the 4 plus 6 plus 4, which is going to give us h to the 14th. And this is just a variable, it cannot be simplified, so that is going to be our final answer. And then we also have -3 to the 2nd power times -3 to the 2nd power. So for this one, we can, of course, you can go ahead and first find what is -3 to the 2nd power, which we know it's going to be -3 times -3, which is +9, right? But let's go ahead and use the product rule. Again, we want to notice that both numbers have the same base, which is -3. So we can go ahead and rewrite this as -3 to the 2 plus 2, which is -3 to the 4th power. Now this means -3 times -3 times -3 times -3, which is going to give us +81. So this one we could simplify because the base was a number. Okay, so those are different examples where we apply the product rule. So again, let's remember that when we multiply using the product rule, we need to have the same base. And if we have, just like in example C, if we have numbers and then variables, you want to kind of group by the multiplication, group it by numbers and then by those values that have the same base. So you can go ahead and apply the product rule and then just put your answers together.